they are living in Pakistan, their hearts are with you.
He is a Noor Dahri, a dubious man of Pakistani origin. He is heading a London-based anti-Muslim think tank, Islamic Theology of Counter-Terrorism. Dahri is suspected to be sponsored by apartheid state of Israel. Dahri, who left Pakistan almost 20 years ago, now has been at the center stage of what Islamabad says a lingering disinformation campaign propagating that Pakistan is getting ready to normalize ties with Israel.
However, Pakistan government, they want to establish a relationship with Israel. This is the reason they sent a delegation, and not only the one person, a couple of persons, including the advisor of the Prime Minister. They flew from the London to Tel Aviv.
Why would our delegation visit Israel when we have a policy not to recognize Israel? It is clearly a fake news. In a democratic society like ours, it is unacceptable to normalize ties with Israel because our entire nation stands by Palestinians.
Pakistan has been under intense pressure from the UAE and Saudi Arabia after some Arab rulers normalized their ties with Israel despite the seething public anger in their countries. Both the UAE and Saudi Arabia reportedly threatened Pakistan to expel over 4 million expatriates if Islamabad resisted their pressure to normalize ties with Israel. This followed a few news anchors who were encouraged by Pakistani military to start debating in favor of normalizing ties with Israel. A reliable source disclosed that the top military generals facilitated a meeting of senior journalists with the Prime Minister Imran Khan a few weeks ago. The very purpose of the meeting was to prevail upon Prime Minister to soften his defiant anti-Israel stance. However, the country's army has been in a denial mode on having an independent initiative to normalize ties with Tel Aviv. The media outlets in the apartheid state even find it harder to speak with a credible Pakistani journalist.
Many Pakistani journalists would even decline to appear and speak with me, from our studio in Tel Aviv.
Pakistani journalists who spoke recently with the Israeli news channel are either tainted with the corruption charges or had a desperation to come into limelight through controversies.
Yes, it's really very fascinating.
Others, like this one, has the dubious history of building up sponsored narratives in a country where people overwhelmingly support Islamic causes. Anyone supporting Israel in Pakistan meets with instant condemnation given Israel's unending mass killing of Palestinians and their forcible expulsion from the Muslim Holy Land from 1948 onwards. There are several secular lobbies working in Pakistan for Israel and its allies UAE and Saudi Arabia, and the major thrust of their argument is that since Arab countries are themselves abandoning Arab nationalism, Arab cause when it comes to the occupied Palestine, then why not Pakistan is abandoning the Palestinian cause? What is it for Pakistan? Why Pakistan go for normalizing ties with Israel? The point is, forcing Israel to withdraw from the Islamic Holy Land is not an Arab cause. It is a Muslim cause. It is an Islamic cause, because in Islam, the nationalism on the basis of ethnic background or any racial profile is something which is not acceptable. That is something which last prophet of Islam, Muhammad, peace be upon him, abandoned 14 centuries ago. Unlike Arab countries, Pakistan was the only country which was created in the name of Islam. Muslim nationalism, which means beyond color, creed and geography. And Pakistan is antithesis to the Israel. Israel consider Pakistan as enemy, and they have the history of conspiring against the Muslim countries. Javed Rana, The Digital Dispatch, Islamabad, Pakistan.